If you want to be a lead, that's the missing ingredient. We have to want to watch you and we have to care about you. This entire show, we invest in you as opposed to we marvel at you. We always radiate this confidence and this aura that people want to be a part of, rather than it being, and the same on stage, when I'm thinking about myself, when I'm thinking of what I look like and what the audience will want from me, we completely retract from you. We marvel at your talent when you see something and you go, gosh, wow, the talent, but I don't feel anything.
Welcome back everyone to the Dive podcast, where each week we interview professional performing artists as we discuss their stories and dive deeper into learning how to navigate the challenges we face as artists. I'm your host, Taylor Scanlon. Today we'll be talking about how to go from doubting yourself to trusting yourself as an actor, understanding how to let go of the mental and physical tension of acting, and what sets apart the dreamers from the doers. With our special guest, Anna Burgess. Anna is an award-winning actress and acting coach with a career spanning more than 20 years in theatre, musicals, TV, and film. Anna truly understands the journey an actor goes on, from auditions, booking the gig, performing it, and everything in between. She understands the craft and confidence it takes as well to be consistently successful. Anna has also been honing her craft as a teacher for the past 8 years in some of Melbourne's leading musical theatre and acting institutions. From musicals of Crazy for You, Damn Yankees, Sweet Charity, 42nd Street, The Pajama Game, and Anything Goes, as well as featuring on Neighbours on TV. You are not going to want to miss a single word. Thank God you're here. Let's get ready to dive into today's episode. Thanks, Anna, for being here. It's so awesome.
Are
you well?
And this plant is happy to see me too.
Yes, we have some plants in the studio. I know. No, wonderful. Yeah, thanks for being on here. Before we get into all of the juicy stuff, I really want to help all the people watching and listening to hear a little bit more about you.
That is a very good question. I have had a journey, and I guess that's why when I teach, I have walked the walk, and in many different chapters and versions. And I was a dancer. I was obsessed with dance when I was a little girl. I actually saw an actor talk about the importance of dance growing up and then becoming an actor. And that's why I love teaching dancers, is because you come from the body first, which is where all the emotion is, and to have the confidence to use space and express without voice first. I was obsessed with ballet. I went to Karen Stevens.
Long legs.
I loved it, and I couldn't see anything else that I wanted to do. And I'm so glad my parents, they didn't push me. I was a shy child.
Right.
So for any parents out there who are worried about their child being shy, there's nothing wrong with it, actually. I used to just sit and watch a lot, which I still do, and I think a lot of actors are great observers. And I was really shy, and I found myself through dance. And then through that, my dance teacher was actually said, I think you'd be a great actor, because I was a good dancer, but I wasn't one of the best. But that never bothered me. I was a worker.
Well, you were probably performing it. You were probably...
I was aching for words. And so then I started at the National Theatre when I was a teenager, and I just, like every performer says, I found my people. And so it was through dance that I found acting. And through that I did do musical theatre, but my love was always acting. And I love theatre. It's my favourite thing in the world. I went and saw a vampire lesbian romp yesterday at 45 downstairs, and it was 2:00 in the afternoon, and I walked in and it was like a doof. There was like techno playing and there was a disco ball, and I just went, this is where I'm supposed to be.
I love that.
Saturday afternoon, I was
really
like...
don't know what you're going to get, do you?
No, and I got it. It was so funny and weird. I was just brident. I love theatre. It's magic. I've been in theatre and I've done TV and film as well, but maybe it was 8 years ago, Kelly Akers messaged me. I'd heard of Kelly from the industry. She's in musical theatre, obviously. And she said, I've got a full-time course that I know of your work and I think you'd be a great teacher. And I thought, all right. Thank you. I got a long line of teachers in my family. My mum's a painter and also a lecturer at university. And I found teaching and I just went, this is one of the most natural things I've ever done, apart from performing. And it's not a fill-in job, I think. Yeah, for any teachers out there, it's one of the greatest things you'll ever do. Yeah. If you love it.
It's so rewarding.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it changes so much because there's always new people.
Yeah.
And so they all bring their own thing. And
but there are consistencies.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that today.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, their wins are my wins, which is a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So you trained in Australia and then you went and trained over in New York.
I did. And I have so many students wanting to ask about this very question.
Sure.
Do I go overseas? The training in Australia is so good. You have everything that you could ever want here. But I was at a point where I wanted to go and soak up New York.
Yeah.
There's just something about that place and learn from teachers that have learned from Lee Strasberg in the theatre that Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So to me, I was at that point in I think it was 28. So just so you know, it's also never too late. I think a lot of people in our game think you need to finish learning at a certain point, then you're done.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
If you're interested in staying curious, I think it's never over. So I loved going there because I just immersed myself in it. And the teachers there were just... Irma, who is now sadly not with us, was an ex-ballerina. And she was my sensory teacher. So you do, I think it's 5 hours of relaxation, sensory, and then scene work.
Wow.
It's a long class, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful energy. And then you walk out and it's snowing on the streets of New York and
it's just a whole nother
Broadway's,
element, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It is. But I tell you what, Australians have such a good reputation over there. They're workers.
I don't know. I feel like because Broadway and the West End, it's so far away, we paint this picture that it's this massive, unreachable thing that actually, when I went over it to watch, it's still amazing, but it's still like just as amazing here. And I think it's because we paint this picture that it is this other thing. We work so hard because we think it's at a certain level that when you see Australian artists come through, you're like, you notice because they've put it on a pedestal and worked even probably a bit harder than, you know, some people because of it. Yeah. And the great thing if you do want to study over there is you've got nothing to lose. No one knows your name over there. I just said yes to every class, every scene, and did everything, saw every show, and I came back ready. But I think I was always ready. I just came back with this attack. You went there for your soul, or, you know.
I absolutely did. A lot of my friends were getting married and having children, and I was like, I'm going to sell everything and move to New York. And I don't regret it.
That's what it takes.
It does, yeah.
And we'll definitely talk about putting in the work, and I think one of the biggest things, that's what differentiates the dreamers and the doers, the people that are doing the work.
Do it.
Yeah.
And I think when I got back, I was better, but it was because I trusted myself. That I knew what I was doing because I was investing in myself. Yeah. The body is only nervous because it's not sure what you're asking of it. Like today when I was on my way here, I thought, am I nervous? And then I was like, no, I'm not, because I know I love this and I know what I'm talking about and I adore you and I love students. So if I can help 10 people or however many, I'm not nervous. I'm excited. There's a difference. I think we're talking about auditions the other day about, do you get nervous now, Taylor? Do you?
Me? No. I don't get nervous. You can feel it in the body. But when you, like you said, when you have invested the time, you start to build up this trust within the body that you go, okay, I can notice that you're nervous, body, because we're putting you into this space. But when you have that inner trust and have the tools and the techniques behind you that can build that picture, you can just go into it with open awareness of just having fun and enjoying. And but it has to build from that.
And it does.
It doesn't just happen.
No, it doesn't. I think of it as an investment. Whenever I've gone to New York or when I came back, I did courses at 16th Street with people like Larry Moss that changed the trajectory of my career in a class. I think, was that a waste of money and time? It never is. Even if they find a block and it's excruciating sometimes growth is. Even when I was in my 30s, I was having these teachers going, have you looked at this tension in your brow? Have you looked at your voice recently? And I'm like,
what? Yeah.
So I would just say keep learning. You're never done. And that helps with auditions but also life as well, because you become, how many hours do they say it takes to become an expert?
It's like 200 or probably 1,000.
I don't know.
2,000.
I should have researched
They should probably do a new wave of that.
But that's not to say you're not ready after full time. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not ready. It's like, well, when are you ever ready? I think you can still keep learning while you are working as well. I'm sure when you were Mary Poppins, you went like, oh, I'm on Poppins now, so here I stay.
And every show that you do, it's a whole new show. It's new script, new music, a lot of time new dance moves put in a different way. So you're constantly having to be put in that place of growth and learning and taking on board. So, yeah, absolutely.
So going back to New York,
yes.
Should students go and live overseas? Yes, for the experience. The teachers, yeah, absolutely. But also we have so many teachers here in Australia. We have so many American coaches that you can work with. You've got Howard Fine that comes out. Larry Moss, you can also do online class with them. So I feel like it's expensive to move overseas. And I know that that's a luxury item and it's a privilege that is not bestowed on everyone.
Yeah.
So my advice would be study with the greats, but you can do it from Melbourne. And we have so much talent here.
So much to work.
So I would say do it if you want to, but we have it all here too.
I love that. That's so good. So you trained in Australia, went to New York, and then you also trained in acting back here as well?
I did. When you came back, I was obsessed with the method for a while. I was really into Strasbourg, and so I found a place called Melbourne Actors Lab, which is run by Peter Kalos.
Yeah.
I was with him for a few years. We used to do acting classes till 2 a.m.
Wow.
Scene study classes. And
you just loved it.
I loved it. What
did you love about it? Like, was there a single thing, or you just
getting
atmosphere?
There was no rush. I think a lot of classes, it's time-wise, there's a restriction on it. But Peter would go till we were done, till we'd found what we needed to find.
I love that.
So there'd be improv, and we'd be in the world. Together. I know, we were in the world for about an hour, and then we'd get notes. You'd do sensory work, relaxation, which we'll talk about. Yeah. Relaxation is really important for an actor. Yeah. If I had 5-hour classes at Patrick Studios or Kelly Acres, wherever I teach, I don't have enough time to do it, but the money is really in, the magic is in relaxing. But everyone's like, no, I want to act, let me act. But I'm like, you got to relax first.
Yeah.
You got to warm up, you got to get the body, the mind, the spirit, the voice, everything ready and centered to be able to play tension of a character.
Yeah. Or bring that authentic story forward, which always is going to read better.
Yes.
Than...
But no one wants that. Everyone wants, where's the camera? I want the technique. I want a show. I want a product. Whereas I say, you will if you can do this first. Yeah.
I'd love to actually talk a little bit more about that. I know when we, as I think more now, and probably as a teacher, you probably see this too, that a lot of performers now are getting taught exactly what steps to do, exactly what songs to sing, all the techniques or what you're meant to do, that almost there's been a loss in that authentic self or the performer's self to come forward, which is really what translates more than where your leg is or what words you're singing. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
I do, and I think I work with so much talent every day. There is so much talent. It's overwhelming. I don't remember there being so much talent. But I think what we're missing is storytelling, and authenticity is missing because, like you say, we're so good. There are so many classes out there to perfect your screen test, to perfect your stagecraft. But what's missing is this magic in the eye, and also the magic is usually in the mistake.
Right.
So this is what really messes dancers up.
Yeah.
As dancers watching. They know what I'm talking about. They're brilliant at script analysis when they come to me. They understand character. They understand it all. But then when I say, just now can you please let it all go? That's when they go, sorry, what?
Yeah. I love that.
You have to let go.
Yeah. Anytime someone's broken character or something, they've gone, even if it's meant to be this serious role or something, and you just see them themselves come forward, or they giggle, and then you're like, who's that?
Who's that?
I want to know that.
I want that person who woke up and went, this is who I am. Because you're not putting on a voice when you're at home with your parents or your partner, but everyone has this actor voice.
Right.
Because we want to show our voice work. I want to show you my best angle. You know, but we all have that thing, don't we, that we want to be perfect.
I wonder if, because technology has been such on a rise, with dancing, every class is being filmed now, and there's TikTok. There's so much emphasis on how you look. I think with that generation coming up, it's become so much on how you look and the things how you present, that we're starting to miss, if the cameras are all the way and you're going to class because you enjoy it, or you're singing because you just feel like singing like that day. I think, I believe, but I think that's had a massive influence.
100%. And I get it, because I was a ballet girl and I was all about the slick hair and everything had to have its place, and it's taken me years to undo that we are a product, and I still like to get dressed and look a certain way, but I remember I messaged you this morning about what temperature the room was going to be. This is a reality check. Because I like wearing jackets, because I like the world seeing me a certain way. Again, it's that kind of control thing. And then I went, does it matter what I wear? No, it doesn't. But what makes me feel good, ultimately, because I'm here to talk to you, to help others. I'm actually not here. It's not about me. No. And so then we always radiate this confidence and this aura that people want to be a part of, rather than it being, and the same on stage, when I'm thinking about myself, when I'm thinking of what I look like and what the audience will want from me, we completely retract from you. We marvel at your talent when you see something and you go, gosh, wow, the talent, but I don't feel anything. And if you want to be a lead actor, this is what I always say to full-timers or casual classes, if you want to be a lead, that's the missing ingredient. We have to want to watch you, and we have to care about you. This entire show, we invest in you, as opposed to we marvel at you. And it's like dating. You go on a date and I'm going to present a product. I'm going to impress this person, and they ultimately then may fall in love with a product, this version of ourselves, but it's actually not who we are. As people would say, explorational dating. And I think it's the same with acting. We might go, wow, she's great at the tricks, but when it comes to a 8-part series, can I watch it? Do I believe her? Do I like her? And I want to be really clear about liking.
Do you want to know?
I don't mean like as in, because a lot of actors are like, oh, I don't want to play a bad character, an evil character. There's no such thing. I think everyone liking is not the thing, caring is.
Right.
Do we care about this character? And that comes from you letting go of the grip of what you think an audience wants. Because what they want, actually deep down, is authenticity. They want to see themselves in you, and they want to forget about their lives or feel or enjoy the night with their friends. That's what we are here to do. So it's all about ourselves and our thoughts around our product. That's what will get you the job.
Taking it away from yourself and understanding that it's, even if you are a lead, that it's not about you, it's, what you're portraying and how you can find that connection, which is always going to be on authenticity, which is actually really wonderful. I think on your website, you say, the good news is you already have all the wonderful instincts to become truly great. And I love that. I mean, a lot of training is amazing.
It is.
And I think a lot of your training still continues. Every different show you do, you're learning and you're growing each time. But the best thing to always fall back on is that you are so unique. And you have all those authentic, capabilities. So you don't have to search for anything else other than diving into that character. How does this translate to me, and how can I portray it in an authentic way? And that's where great casting comes in, because they cast people that are actually quite similar. Or can portray it in a way, or can dive into past topics or past selves, or be able to portray it in that way that's authentic. I love that.
And I see it all the time from the front as a teacher. Everyone's trying to be the same product because they see that dancer in that circuit and they're like, I want to be that. And it's not a team, it's you. They haven't met you yet.
That's really interesting. I love that you've brought that up, because I've even definitely, when with covering, you will just watch to know what you need to do. Sometimes you watch what the person's doing and then you just copy, and then you get on stage and you're like, this doesn't feel right. Because you're copying what someone else has created from scratch and themselves. So then you get rid of all of that and you make it your own, and you can actually have more fun with it and actually enjoy yourself.
Yeah, because that's where the joy is. Yeah. And again, it goes back to tension. If you can take one word away from today is let go of tension. And that means mental, physical, all of it. Yeah. Let go, because that's an expectation that I need to be like this actor. That's tension. Yeah. Do you know that awful feeling when you're watching yourself as an actor? Mm-hmm. I say this all the time to my actors and they're like, yes, yes. We've all been there. Yeah. And we all slip back into it as well. If the reviewers are in, for instance, opening night, will they like our product? Will they review me well? What will my parents think? But we have to let go. Yeah. And we can't be watching ourselves, worrying about what this is, because we're out. We're already out of the given circumstances. We're out of the present moment. Right. Same with here. We've got cameras on us. Yeah. Imagine if I'm aware of the cameras, of course. Yeah. Like, there are cameras here. It's a lovely studio.
Hello, everyone.
But if I can't stop thinking about that and I'm not listening to you, this will be horrific.
Mush.
So we know we're on stage, we know there's an audience, but at some point we acknowledge and then we are in. And we want to get rid of that idea of self as quickly as possible. And that comes from listening.
Yeah. And that goes exactly with what you were saying about relaxing, because the more relaxed you are, the more aware you are. You can take all of what's happening around you and still be present. Yeah. I love that. So I would love to explore some practical tips on how to actually maybe even show up as your authentic self, and how to go really from doubting yourself, because a lot of that comes from that self-judgment. Am I going to be good enough? Or what are they going to think? And that clouds the mind from trusting yourself as an actor.
Yes.
Yeah. So how would you...
We talked about this the other day in preparation for today. Acting's a little tricky to put your finger on what is perfection, what is excellent. Yeah. Because dancing, most of the students I work with, they've been dancing since they were 3. They know what a plie is. But with acting, there's so many variables on what is good, what is not, and there's different styles and flavours. So I would start with letting go of tension. So, but I would also say meditation's not for everyone. Some of you will be like, So walking, go to the gym, getting into your body. My partner always laughs at me. I'm like, I'm not in my body at the moment. He goes, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not in my body today, which is really lovely. But today my day was to sleep in and a coffee and a small walk. It doesn't have to be so rigid what your prep is for acting, but you do need to understand, how am I feeling today? Does that match the character I'm about to work on? And if not, how can I align myself? So if I need to be energized and I need to prep my nervous system to play someone who is on, okay, so what do I need to do? Maybe I'll go for a run. Maybe I'll meditate. Maybe I'll just sit and have a coffee. It depends on the character and what piece I'm working on.
Great.
Then I would do a vocal warm-up. Now, for all of you listening, a vocal warm-up is different to a singing warm-up. Yeah. You have to work on your acting voice. It has to have range. So for my friends who have really high-pitched voices, that's fine. But you want to work on those lower tones as well, because everyone's voice has so much colour. But actors tend to sit in one range, and then we get monotone voices, and then we don't feel anything because so much is through the voice. When we're singing from our authentic self, it is us. But then we put on these character voices. If you notice that in musicals a lot, there's the one that, I talk like this. And I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Why'd you make that choice? And if you can tell me why you made that choice, because she's from this part of America and she never grew up, because she was on the dance circuit twirling batons, and she speaks like that because she doesn't really think that she has power, I'll buy it. Yeah. And if I see that on you, that backstory, I'm in.
Great.
But if you're just putting on a voice, that is also tension. Yeah, because you're like vocally stuck. So you need to warm up that voice. You need to strengthen your range to be able to play any character, which by the way, you can within reason.
Great.
So you got physical, then you'll be in your body, and then you've got vocal. Voice is everything.
Voice is everything.
But we like to, again, in Australia, go straight to the next step. I would recommend voice. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with acting, it's what you're saying.
Yes.
And if you don't understand what's happening.
That's right.
And the range that you can still play.
That's right. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you speak in a voice, because I think a lot of people, when they go to like Shakespeare, they put on that voice.
Yes.
And it's all very articulate. And it's like, do you speak like that? Do they speak like that? I would ask the question. But you have to have range and diction as well. If I can't hear you, understand you, I'm out.
Do you recommend filming yourself or hearing yourself back to see the range, or to...
You'll feel it. You can film yourself, but sometimes people get hypercritical.
Right.
I would go to a teacher for that.
Yeah, that's right. Then that way that teacher can be an observatory.
That's right.
With the techniques, with the tools to
help
you drop that
into
go into a positive direction.
Also, to be aware of looking at yourself. Dancers and often sometimes singers are looking at themselves for technique and alignment. With acting, we need to let that go.
Right.
However, if you're working on camera, we need to know angles, we need to know what shot setup it is. So that's slightly different. But when it comes to theatre, do not practice in front of a mirror. There is a disturbing amount of actors saying they practice their scene work looking at themselves. And I'm not an expert on everything, so maybe I'm open to rebuttal here from other teachers. Maybe potentially there's benefit. I like watching my screen test back to see where there's tension or where I'm not connected. But to watch while you're working says to me, I'm aware of self and I'm watching what I'm doing. Whereas when my partner and I are in conflict, I'm not like, Tom, hang on, I'm just going to watch what I look like when I'm crying. I'm not thinking of what I look like. So that kind of worries me that there's this new era of knowing what I look like when I cry.
Instead of just
doing it
and being in it.
Because people in real life don't want to cry, and they don't want to know what they look like when they cry because they're so in it. Yeah.
That's good.
What I missed in those classes early on and in my self-doubt, learning on the job as well, is I wish I'd listened more. I wish I'd relaxed. Also script work. I wish I'd gone into more specificity because the eye is in the detail of life and in every word that a person selects to say in the order that they do says something. Punctuation is sexy. My students laugh at me when I say that, but if you can get on the rhythm of how a person speaks, which is given to you by the writer, you are already ahead of the pack.
I love that.
We always try to interpret text straight away, but I say let the writer speak to you. You come next, because then we'll have your interpretation. But that's why Shakespeare is a really great thing to practice at home, to remember rhythm is everything. Like a musical, if you're out of rhythm, as a dancer we know it. Imagine in that triangle in Chicago. What's that one doing up there? But funnily enough, in acting, when an actor is off rhythm, we don't know why they're not working, but we go, oh, that was weird, that scene, because they're probably out of rhythm with each other and the play. Yeah? So we think we need to pull it back and create it and do things, manipulate the text, but actually the play comes with an underscore.
Yes.
So I would say respect your writer is a really big one, which I did when I was younger, but I thought I was the exception to the rule, which I'm sure a lot of actors think they are.
So we've talked about the mental and physical tension, how to stop doubting yourself, helping yourself relax mentally, physically. I want us to talk about our final topic, which what sets apart the dreamers from the doers.
Because it's important to have a dream. I think it always happens to every one of us as a performer. I always ask on the first day of class when I meet full-timers, when did you know that you wanted to do this? And it's usually from a young age, watching the show. Mine was watching Anything Goes. I'll never forget Ship and the tap dance. The doing, because acting is, it even says in the word act. So the actors who are acting are better at it. They're doing it constantly. They're in flow with it.
Yeah.
But I also have to say the actors who are at peace with themselves and have a happy life, and that doesn't mean to say they don't have issues they're dealing with, but they are tending to that garden as well. So, they're looking after their mental health and they are having weekends and they have released the grip on what their career has to look like, but yet they're still active. Other performers that are really something. Because when they walk into an audition, they go, here is what I have, which, by the way, is if you've done your work and you come from a place of joy, it will be wonderful. It might not be right, but we don't come in with this feeling of less than, and that when I leave here, if I don't get this, my life falls through the floor.
It's almost like coming to the audition apologetically.
Yes.
Like, sorry that I'm here.
And stop saying sorry.
Yes.
Stop saying sorry in auditions. Be courteous and be you and be ready to work when you walk into those rooms, but stop apologizing for your presence.
I was taught once from a book that you can always find, well, not in every single scenario, sometimes it's important to apologize.
Sure.
But a lot of the time we are apologizing more than we need to.
Yes.
And I think I read it somewhere where you can actually replace sorry with thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Because I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And just so you know, when you get an audition, the gratitude to even be asked to come into the room, don't start on the negative foot of, yeah, but I probably won't get that. Watch the self-chat of like that negative mindset of, and you might not get it, but the gratitude of being like, I get to play in a room. Like I had an audition the other day, and I mean this, I was so grateful to work on the text. I was like, I really don't know what's going to come of this. I enjoyed stepping into that room and playing for 10 minutes and then walking out without the grip of it has to be a job at the end of this, because I have no control over that. It's like life. We don't know what's going to happen. So I would say release that grip. Come in, play, do courses because you want to do them, and you know deep down you go, my text work isn't great. My breath work, I'm not really fit as an actor. Do the work. But then go and have a holiday in, Wangaratta. I don't know why that came to me. Any listeners who are in Wangaratta. But, like, just go and see the world. Have a little sit in the sun with your dog, with a friend, whatever you like to do. Because actors are curious humans who are seeing the world. They're living it. But they are doing constantly.
And even when you're in shows and in working, continuing that.
Yeah.
And I love that we've kind of set today's episode in that authenticity and trusting yourself and doing the things for yourself so that you can perform, not for the cameras, not for anyone else other than yourself authentically in the moment.
Because it's an energy. I know that word that is kind of a buzzword these days, but it's true. You think about when you go out and there's an energy about people. It's not what they look like. It's this feeling of confidence, yes, but a knowing, a trust. While secretly being in the gym, i.e. gym meaning acting classes or just doing script analysis at home.
Yeah.
Like I just sit at home. Sometimes I lie in bed and daydream about my characters. Sometimes it's
maybe that's the secret sauce. So if you're going into an audition maybe and you're reading the text and not gelling with it, maybe flag that instead of flagging, I don't enjoy this or whatever it is. Maybe that show's actually just not for you. So you're trying to notice the difference.
That's right.
Because if you're going...
Taylor, I'm going to question you on that. Sometimes the ones that aren't gelling are the ones for you, which is really tricky to get your mind around because some of the roles that I've played that I'm like, I can't do this, it's not fitting, are the very ones that I need to play. And they are the ones
don't they
that
say that what you resist the most is what you most need?
Yes.
I think I 100% agree with you. It's just going into an audition, if you're already having that sorry mindset is what I was trying to get at, and instead of the gratitude to just enjoy and perform the material to the best of your ability, if you're already in that lack mindset, if you get the job and doing 8 shows a week and you're not working on that stuff, you're going to be hating it. You're going to be not enjoying the experience because you're not coming from that gratitude.
Always gratitude. And gratitude doesn't have to be peaceful. all the time. When it's rocky, and shows do get rocky, and auditions can be like, ooh, funny feelings, discomfort comes up, that's also not a bad thing. I want you to, like, I was always a very emotional child. I'm still a very emotional woman, which I'm super grateful for, but also not all actors have to be emotional, just so you know, but not to be led by emotions. So classes, rehearsals, discomforts come up, and immediately people want to pull back and say that must mean it's a bad thing. Discomfort is where all the good stuff is usually. So in acting classes, a lot of dancers will resist that next stage of acting because they're like, I don't like it, I'm not safe comes up, and there's an discomfort of letting go. I would say it's just on the other side of that, if you can be brave enough. Worst thing that happens is you cry, which, by the way, I'm always like, crying is good. I won't talk about what I say to my students probably a little bit. It's like going to the bathroom. When you cry, the crying is the release. The crying is just a little block that's come up, and we release, and then we can move forward. I'm not talking about traumatic things here. I'm just saying we never talk about personal things in acting class, just so you know. You don't have to go into experience from your past or trauma. We deal with what the character's dealing with, and we use ourselves today. You don't have to ever talk about anything personal. I used to do method, but I don't do that as much now. I just think about what it would be like to be this character, and how would that make me feel, and where would I find that in the body, in my nervous system, and I don't have to go back into my life. It's all on the page.
It's fitting to what we're talking about, the setting apart dreamers from the doers. Every kind of thing we're spoken about today is in the doing. I think if you really have a passion for it, you will make it work. And maybe that's something that you need, especially if you're in theatre doing 8 shows a week. Just remember the effort that you put in. Maybe the thing that you're lacking is to go to an open class, and even if it is on your day off, I know anytime I've just done it, you do it, you may not feel like you want to because you might be tired or exhausted, but maybe you need new information. I find that when you're soaking, science has proven, when you're learning and growing, which is where we're designed as humans to be.
When you're curious,
you just have this level of, I've learned this today. Having that excitement or progression will massively affect your mental, emotional, physical.
And I think I would encourage you to learn from many. Soak up all different kinds of acting styles. There's a lot of questions I get, and I'm sure you have this from all the students you asked. Where do I study? Who's the best? There is no best. And there is no right way to be an actor. So with dance, there's tap, there's hip hop, there's all these different styles. With acting, there's different genres. You've got different mediums. So you've got TV and film, which is different to theatre. How you get there is up to you. So some people swear by Meisner. Some are Strasbourg. Some are just, they make it up. Whatever works, because I just don't want to see your technique when I'm watching you, is all it is. So I would say soak up everyone. That's how I teach as well. I have a tool belt of all different types of coaching, and for every student, different things work.
If you could go back to yourself when you were starting your career, what advice would you give yourself and the listeners that are maybe starting their career or they've booked their first show? What would be the advice that you give yourself and to them?
I would say, whenever I ask these sorts of questions, like, what do you want? What's going on? Students always say, I don't know. And I always give them the response, which Larry Moss gave to me, but what if you did know? No one likes hearing that, just so you know. When you say, I don't know, you absolutely do know what you're doing. And you do know in your gut. You just don't want to follow it, say it, because what if the dream is too big? I would say my biggest thing is I've always known. I've always known who I was. I think we all do, but we morph and we try to become something else. But our little children inside of us, our little human knows. I've always known that I'm a performer. I'm quirky and I'm emotional and I'm quiet, and then I'm also very funny and I love to entertain. but I'm very sensitive. I've always known that's who I am, but I tried to pretend that I was something else. I've always known. And I think all of you know who you are, and you know what you must do. You know what you're avoiding, and I would look inwards. Rather than trying to think that everyone else knows, tell me, what do you think? Trust yourself. Like my website says, I mean, I did write it, is you already do know. You have everything.
All the tools.
You have it.
Yeah.
You just need to refine and be curious and get detailed. Refine. But you do have it already.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to, yes, let go of tension, let go of the idea that you're not enough. You've always been enough. Somewhere along the line, you possibly doubted that. And get working. Yeah.
And from that trust, it's going to only come from doing the work.
Yeah.
Because the more work you do, the more you discover what works, what doesn't work. And you will end up landing, maybe never, but you will end up just...
Well, because we aren't always working and we're always curious and our work changes. Yeah. But at least you'll be curious. You'll be soaking it all up from a place of not less than, but a place of, ooh, what else? Yeah. It's really exciting. I hope you have the best time. I always say this to students, I'm like, have the best life. And they're like, I'm like, no, I might not see you for another 10 years or I'll see you on stage, but just have the best time with it. It's all art.
Enjoy it.
Which is entertainment.
Enjoy it while you can.
Enjoy it.
The experience in itself,
we're lucky.
It's a very, unique opportunity that we get to have as artists. So enjoy every moment. This is wonderful. So how can listeners find you if they want to work with you or what would you recommend the best way to contact you? And
I mean,
learn from
you'll see me across Melbourne. I work with a lot of full-timers and part-time institutions. If you're a musical theatre, I obviously work a lot in that. But I also do teach privately as well at Burgess actingcoaching.com. That felt like a sell, but if you would like to learn, I would love to work with you. I love students. Yeah. They're the best.
You're the best. And
well, it's taken me 42 years, but I'm kind of pretty good.
I love it.
But my little girl...
You've done the work. You can see through it all, and I guess that's exactly what we're both doing. We're just trying to help you get from A to B a little bit faster, and you definitely know what you're talking about.
And then...
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope we can have you back on again, I'm
Love
sure.
to.
And,
Chookers, as we say in the business. Have a great time.
Great. Thank you for joining us today on the Dive Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your preferred platform. And if today's episode has resonated with you and you want to share it with a friend that may benefit from it, go ahead. Stay connected with us on social media at thedive.com.au as our handle. And for additional content and updates with the podcast, you can visit our website at www.thedive.com.au. You will also have access to free resources there, and I have added in for today's episode a meditation to get you centered, to get you into the vibe of what your character is about to portray. Finding that centeredness like we were talking about with the episode today. We appreciate your support, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and go for it. Take care.